Hey VV Nation, welcome to the channel. My name is Glenn, Senior Stock Market Strategist for VectorVest, and I got a video for you today. So everybody's always looking for the next best plays long term. We talk about a lot of stocks between Ryan and I on stocks you can look at short term. I'm talking about 3 stocks that you can look at that I think could be some of the best plays for the next decade. That's right, the next decade. Wow. That's a big, bold statement. Now, keep in mind, these are stocks that I've definitely been keeping my eyes on for the longest time, but I'm going to present a case of why I think these are 3 of the best stocks you can take a look at for the next decade. Now, at the end of this video, I'm going to challenge you if you choose to take up that challenge, but you got to stay to the end of the video to see or find out what that challenge is and see if you want to partake in it. All right. So first thing I'm going to do, I'm going to talk about my 3 stocks. First stock I'm going to look at is Apple. Apple in this article being upgraded to a buy on new catalyst and adjusted smartphone expectation. Now, let me tell you a little something about Apple. You guys know I love Apple, but I'm not fully in love with Apple because you should never be fully in love with any stock. But some things that are going on in the background that I do like about Apple. 1, they had that meeting with TSM in regards to the chips. That was a smart thing on their behalf. Nobody knew about it. It was secret and da-da-da-da-da-da. But I think that was putting themselves on the right path in regards to the phones. Number 2, they hooked up with Baidu in China for them to be able to sell more of their phones in China. Why wouldn't you want to do that? China is the biggest buyer of everything globally. Number 3, Apple wasn't in the forefront of the whole AI move, but they sat back in the background. And now with the new iOS coming out and the generative AI, it's sparking a lot of buzz behind the phone. Number 4, the ecosystem by far is one of the best ecosystems out there. I was talking to someone a while ago and was saying, I moved from Apple to Android. And, once you're in the Apple ecosystem, it's hard to move out. So all of these years, you have dedicated people to the Apple ecosystem that will continue to drive Apple. All right. So now this is on an upgrade. We're more positive about Apple's ability to outperform with Apple Intelligence, a catalyst for new iPhone releases. We also think the smartphone demand has bottomed and expected to see smartphone TAM expansion in 2025. So I think there's a lot of good things behind the Apple stock, the things that I talked about. And, as long as they're incorporating AI, which is the hottest thing right now, I think that Apple is, and something, it's a company that's got $3 trillion worth of market cap, one of the top 3 companies in the market from market cap perspective. They're not going away. They've been around. It's no longer a growth stock. I totally understand that. But going forward, I think they have a lot of wind in their sails to push them higher and continue to rock and roll. All right. So, there's 35 analysts that I found on Apple. I'm going to give a price target on all these stocks at the end of the video as well. All right. So next stock, Tesla. Interesting how Tesla comes into the story. Tesla's been beaten up as one of the Magnificent 7 stocks. It's the worst one in the Mag 7 right now. But Ryan did a good job over the last couple of weeks getting us prepared for the move in Apple. They've got the robo taxi going on. They got the full self-driving capability. China's letting them do it in China. They are still number 1 in the EV space. Now, overall, I'm not super bullish on the EV space, but when you look at Tesla, Tesla has gone beyond just the EV, and they're going to start to pull on their other things that they can do that makes them a good company overall outside of just EVs. They're still number 1 in the EV space. I don't think anybody takes them over. Boyd sells, in China, they sell more cars, but it's an $11,000 car that it's the size of a sneaker. I can't bash them, but, it's $11,000 car, and it's just such a small car. And you look at the Tesla car, that's not the case. But they are working on getting the price of the car down. But I look at the robo-taxi, it's going further and further along. I look at the full self-driving. I look at all of the other things that the company as a whole offers. I think that it is a good stock for the long term. All right, next one. AI to help spur 15% additional gain with tech stocks in the second half. I did this in a live stream on Monday, and I think that that's huge. I think any company that attaches themselves to the AI tag is going to be a company that's going to get a piece of the pie and just go with the stream and just keep going higher and higher, higher. Now, I say that to bring up my third company. Everybody knows that I like me some Palantir. There's a lot of reasons why you like Palantir. One, because of the AI space. Two, because of so many contracts that Palantir is getting globally, not just in the United States, not in just one sector or industry, for healthcare, for, in this case, space, for protecting our country from terrorist attacks, a lot of different things. Palantir has its hands in so many pockets and getting so many contracts. Those contracts just need to turn into real money. And when it does, holy smokes, the floodgates will open for Palantir. Now, I think a lot of you think, well, he's just pumping. I have never pumped any stock, anytime, anywhere. I just look at the trail of what the company has the ability to do and report, for the lack of a better word, on what I think it can do. And again, all three of these stocks, I'm going to give price targets by the end of the video. And again, here's my three stocks: Apple, Tesla, Palantir. Now, I wanted to start off real quick. Let's go back to the beginning of the year. Let me just set the table for you. All right, let me just set the table for you. I'm going to go back to January of this year, January 2nd, and I just wanted to see how these stocks have performed so well so far this year. 19%. Well, is that beating the market? Yes. Is it beating the pants off the market? No. But remember, this is not a sprint. This is a long-term run. All right. This is a long-term run. I like the idea that it's beating the S&P 500. What have they done? Palantir has been the biggest mover, up almost 56%, and we're only in the first half of the year. Apple, even though it was one of the worst Mag 7 stocks, it's come along. It's up 16%, and the biggest loser by far is Tesla. But I think that this second half of the year for Tesla is probably going to turn out to be a good second half. All right, so I wanted to bring that up as to what these stocks have done. And so now going forward, why do I continue to like these stocks for the next decade? All right, so I'm looking at none of these stocks have relative values above 1. How are you going to talk about stocks for the next decade that don't have relative values above 1? It's a good question. I'll answer that in a second. Relative safeties, 2 of these companies, 2 out of the 3 are considered to be safe companies. All 3 of these companies, based upon what's going on in the current market's condition for the first half of the year, all 3 of these companies are in uptrends. They all have VSTs, which is our master indicator, above 1. And only Palantir has a CI or comfort index above 1. Earnings growth, Apple is not a growth stock anymore. It used to be, but it's not. But it's got a 7% earnings growth. Tesla, earnings growth is negative. Why? Because they were messing around with Boyd and blah, blah, blah. They need to get back to what they do as a company. And I think that that is why they're pulling on other things in the company outside of just EV. I think that number changes by the end of the year. And Palantir has got a great earnings growth of 28%. Folks think, again, that I pumped this stock. This stock's got a lot of potential once it puts its big boy pants on and starts making money on all of these contracts. All right, let's graph these real quick. Put these on a 3-month graph just to see where they are. Apple, beautiful move, bottom left, top right, now eking into the fast lane by way of the star search. I think that this is just on a 6-month, 3-month basis. Over a 1-year basis, a little choppy, but at the highs. I did give a price prediction of Apple moving above its most recent high of a price target of $200. Right now, it's at $215. That's a good thing. I'm going to give a price target on Apple right now going into the end of the year of $250. Yes, of $250. All right, let's go put this back on a 3-month graph. Let's go to the next stock. Tesla. A lot of turmoil going on with the fight with Boyd as far as pricing. Still bottom left, top right, a lot more volatility. Currently breaking out in the fast lane on rising volume. There's a lot of commitment to the move on Tesla right now. All right. The worst Mag 7 stock, I think, going into the second half of the year, that changes. And let's go put this on a 1-year graph real quick. Man, this is a tough call right here to say that for a decade purposes, that this is one of the best stocks out there. Again, with everything that they got in the pipeline of what they're doing, even already being at the forefront of the EV space, these additional things, I think Tesla goes on a major run. Let's go back to the last stock for 3-month graph. There's Palantir finally coming into its own, right? Now recently coming out of the middle lane, rising up in the fast lane, pulled back into the middle lane, now back in the fast lane. I think, again, forefront of their industry as well. And everything is going to stem around computers and computers learning how to use the AI. That's where Palantir comes into play. That's where Palantir comes into play. Put this on a 1-year graph. You know something? It may have been volatile, but still bottom left, top right. I definitely think that it takes out that 1-year high. I didn't give, let me see, my price target on Palantir, I'm going to put it at $32. All right, $32. And then on Tesla, my price target is going to be $250. Now, keep in mind, Apple reports earnings on July 24th. Tesla reports earnings on July 17th. And Palantir reports earnings on August 5th. All right, so folks, all I could do is give you my story on why. Now, there's a lot of other stocks out there. So here's my challenge. I'd like to see what's on your list for stocks, 3 stocks. All right. And I'm going to go through all of your submissions, your top 3 stocks for the next decade. And I will try to put another story together to compare your top 3 picks for the next decade, compare it to my top 3 picks for the next decade, and let's see who can do a better job. All right. So that's my challenge to you. So in the chat, make sure you put your picks. I will build the best watch list I can of your top 3 picks, and we'll compare them. I'll do another video and I'll compare the 2 decade-worthy stocks. Folks, thank you for joining me this evening. If you're brand new to the channel, make sure you hit the subscribe button, hit the bell icon so that you'll be alerted to when videos like this come out. And if you like the video, make sure you hit the like, share the video as well. With all of that being said, folks, this video is over. And until the next time, see ya.